have you here with us tonight. Please, please, we're going to ask you to share, like, call somebody. Tonight, we have an amazing guest, an amazing opportunity for you to really see what we're going to do this summer through a campaign I'm calling Through Broken Lenses. And so I'm glad you're here with us tonight. We're exploring this powerful series, Through Broken Lenses, something that came to my mind because many of us, beloved, are living life through lenses shaped by experiences we never chose, like our trauma, rejection, grief, loss. I guess I'd have pulled the mic close, huh? Shame, all kinds of religious conditioning, disappointment, and just downright pain. And so I wanted to look at that this summer, and I wanted to invite guests that could bring us not only information, but inspiration and ways to be healed in these spaces that we don't have to stay in. These experiences influence, I believe, how we see ourselves, how we see others, how we see our faith, and oftentimes how we see or how we are in our future. But what I do know is that healing is possible. Healing is possible. Tonight, I invite you into this conversation that might change the way you see your life. Selah. My special guest tonight is Jasara Glover. I met her a couple of years ago. She's a licensed therapist, an executive coach, a speaker. I have followed her, a founder of the Oasis Sanctuary, and she is a PhD candidate in business psychology. And I just learned, I let her share that next week she'll be probably ending this series and becoming Dr. Glover. So tonight together we'll explore what it means to move from performance to power and discover the courage it takes to become who we are always meant to be. Again, welcome tonight to Breaking the Silence, Now, let me just read her bio before I bring her on. I think folks call her Lady J. I forgot to ask her what she wants me to call her. Is a licensed therapist, an executive coach, a speaker, a PhD candidate in business psychology, as I shared with you earlier, who will graduate, I think it's next week, with her doctorate. As the founder of the Oasis Sanctuary in partnership with the Legacy Leadership Group, she helps leaders, professionals, and purpose-driven individuals heal, grow, and lead with authenticity and impact. Oh, wow. Let's do that. Drawing from her experience in mental health, leadership development, nervous system regulation, and holistic wellness, Lady J specializes in helping people break free. Come on, this might be you tonight. Break free from limiting patterns, reclaim your voice, and align your personal well-being with your professional success. She's got some exciting things to offer you tonight. You're not going to want to wait. Stay in here. Her work uniquely bridges clinical psychology, leadership strategy, and whole person healing. And if you know anything about Bishop Bonnie, we always talking about that whole person healing. And that's what Lady J is talking about. And so we're going to, for Breaking the Silence Through Broken Lenses, Lady J brings both professional expertise and lived experience to conversations about healing, identity, resilience, leadership, and the courage it takes to transform pain into purpose. Would you please do your little self a round of applause, and please welcome my special guest tonight, Jasara Glover. Yay! Let me get her to the stage here and get us off of here.
Hey.
There we go.
Hello.
Hey, Jay, it's great to see you. Great to have you. Thank you for bringing yourself here with us.
Yes,
what an amazing opportunity that we have. Well, I don't want to waste a lot of time because we have a lot of things to talk about. And I know your expertise is going to help some of these folks tonight. So why don't you just first greet the folks and we'll jump right into our questions.
Yeah, sure. Good evening, everybody. First of all, thank you so much, Bishop Bonnie, for the invitation. I am so honored to be here. I am Jacera, aka Lady J. I do go by Lady J and soon Dr. Lady J. I will be completing, actually defending, doing my oral defense dissertation defense on next Thursday. So I'm very, very excited about that. And I am coming to you outside of Atlanta, Georgia. I am married. Husband is Robert, living with my family. And I'm so excited to be here, licensed therapist. I can go on and on about the things, but as you were talking, Bishop Bonnie, I said, the one thing very few people know about me, and I realize I don't share it a lot, is that I am an ordained elder. That's not something that I lead with. And the whole ordained elder and there's a reason for it. But as you were, saying all of the things, I was like, oh, just Sarah. I'm always doing this introspection thing anyway. So I thought that was interesting as I heard aloud. I was like, that is very, very interesting. So anyway, I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here.
We're so glad to have you. And thank you so much for agreeing to come on here. So let's jump right into this space because I think that a lot of folks, and even in my conversations with some folks on yesterday, the whole piece about broken lenses. When you hear the phrase "through broken lenses," what comes to your mind?
I automatically think about the way that we see not only ourselves, but the way that we see life, the way that we experience relationships, the way that we experience God, the way that we experience our careers. Generally, when I think of and hear that term, I think of the way that we view our perspective, our our perspective, our thoughts. Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So you often talk about moving people from performance to power. What is the difference?
So moving people from performance to power is moving from a place of functionality, because a lot of times performance is about function versus being. And when I think about power, I think about embodiment. When it comes to performance, I also am, I'm inclined to think about conditioning. It's almost like the agreement that the role that we choose to that has been imposed upon us, if you will. And it's moving from that place of function. And when I think of power, I think of embodiment and flow. I think of authenticity. So it's moving. And the one thing I like about this whole moving from performance to power is that our life is always in transition. We're always in movement. And a lot of times what performance has us on this hamster wheel. We're not necessarily moving.
Right.
But we are meaning, and when I say moving, meaning progressing, but we're like exhausting our energy. Same thing, routine, rigidity. You know what I'm saying?
Listen.
Right. So moving from performance to power makes me think about transitioning, developing, evolving from a place of function to a place of flow and being.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. How would people know if they're listening to us tonight? How would they know they're living from performance rather than authenticity? And I'm waiting for this one because I think folks have an incredible challenge around authenticity, especially in the church.
Well, that's a whole nother
conversation.
But you know what? When we perform, I want us to think about literally being on the stage and coming out and playing a role. And not that we don't, not that that doesn't have a place, because it does. But I think one of the ways that we can know when those roles have exhausted themselves is when we come into a place of awareness that we may resent where we are, what we don't have, and when we may be emotionally fatigued to the point that we can't explain the fatigue, the tiredness. I know one of the things that caused me to realize that I really, as it pertained to serving people, because one of the terms in the church, you know, servant leader, it gets played, it's said so often that a lot of times when people in the church, leaders in the church, serve the people, underneath that a lot of times is the expectation to be recognized and to be appreciated for it. And it's not until you begin to really sit with the fact that people don't necessarily appreciate, and a lot of times they don't value the sacrifice because they didn't ask you to do it, right? When you sit with yourself and you recognize and realize that, hey, there's a little resentment. There's some resentment here because they're living their life freely. A lot of those people are living audaciously.
Come on now.
Living without any thought about what other people feel. They have an expectation on you, and you, because your identity is wrapped up in serving, all you know is to serve and to be all of the things. When you look and see that other people are succeeding and you're not,
right,
and you start feeling away, that could be an indicator that you are performing and that you're not really authentically, because there's a freedom that comes with authenticity. There's also an audacity that comes with authenticity. That does not come when you're performing. Yeah. So I mean, that's at least that's how I knew. I was working with a client, and one of the things that I'm always doing with my clients is whenever they talk about how someone has made them feel, right? And how when they're having these reactions to what has happened, no matter what it is, I always want to bring them back to, in that moment, what does that interaction say about you? What are you telling yourself as a result of the interaction or as a result of the trigger? And I had a situation the other day, and a client just had to realize, after sitting with that question, and I wanted them to feel the question, right, in their body, feel the weight of the question. They came to understand that they were angry. They were angry that the person was doing life, living, doing their thing. And they, on the other hand, felt obligated and under the guise of responsibility, right? Felt obligated. I'm being responsible. But really having a fit because somebody else is living their life.
Well, that would take us into our next question, because I think that this will be one. What are some of the masks, MASKS, high achieving people wear in your experience?
Yeah, so I wanna normalize first the mask. I want to say that the mask has its place, right? I often use the example of during COVID, in 2020, when we were all asked, to wear the mask to cover ourselves and, to protect ourselves. And, even when you get on a plane, they say that if the plane loses altitude, to put the mask on yourself first. The mask has a place. It has served a purpose. It has gotten us to where we are today. And I think that we wear the mask of being the strong one, of being the perfectionist, of being the reliable one. of being the spiritual one, of being the perfect one, of being the one that is professional, always put together.
Yeah.
And being in those roles, they have served us. They've served a purpose. They've gotten us to where they are. But the danger is when we are in these roles and they keep us detached from who we really are. You can compartmentalize, and often that's what happens when you're wearing a mask. You're compartmentalizing and you're detaching your emotions from what it is that you have to do or what it is that you're accustomed to doing. And oftentimes with women in particular, we wear the role with a badge of honor of being the one that you can depend on.
Right.
Being the one that you can trust. Being the one that never says no.
Carries the load. Come on.
Being the one that carries the load, right? all of those things. And the challenge here is that it becomes our identity. It becomes our identity. Yes. So I like to say there's a, self-concept, and then there's roles that we play, but it becomes these oftentimes these overachiever, overfunction. Oh my God. Can we talk about overfunctioning? You just can't.
Lord have mercy. No, talk about it. Talk about it.
You get an assignment to be free beyond what is expected of you because you think that doing so is going to cause you to be seen or cause you to be appreciated more. But all it does is it exhausts you, right?
Absolutely.
It exhausts you and it becomes a part. You don't know who you are outside of that. Outside of the function, who are you?
Come on, somebody. Better listen to that right there. She's speaking to somebody strongly tonight. I'm telling you what I know. I know who y'all follow me. I know that. There's a part I'm going to leave that alone because I think that folks learned how to put masks on. And I don't necessarily believe that they're always so bad, but I think they become challenging. Folks' authenticity can't shine through the mask.
Well, let me say this because you bring up a point that I definitely want to expound upon. When I think one of the things I tell my clients is that having on a mask could be similar to if I had to envision a house and I'm looking at a window right here and outside my house. And I may have, a person may be able to see just through the window into this room, right?
Right.
Mask allows for them to see maybe parts of my eyes, right? But if you come into my house, you're going to see all of it, right?
Come on now.
Think about when you remove the mask, it's the vulnerability, and everybody doesn't deserve access to the house.
Oh, come on now. Everybody doesn't deserve access.
Everybody doesn't have access into the house. They can look through the window.
Come on now.
See, they can see through the window. If somebody looks through the window right now, they can see that I'm sitting here. But they don't have access to the rooms in my house. They don't have, and so I think similar to the mask, people can see your eyes and there's certain things that they can see, but taking off the mask is reserved for those that that can hold your vulnerability and have the capacity. You keep on the mask when it serves you and when it protects you from those that cannot handle and don't have the capacity to handle you. So be clear. I was telling the ladies, I had a conference this, it was an event, intensive this past weekend. And one of the things I was telling them is that everybody doesn't deserve or hasn't earned the right to have access to you. And one of the things as women that we've been conditioned to do, here's the thing where you have to be wise when it comes to authenticity. You throwing your pearls among swine, and the swine is eating it up, devouring it, doing what it wants to do with it. And then you're broken because you're so, well, I was authentic. Well, in that case, it was wise to have the mask because the people that were with you couldn't handle it.
Couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Could not.
We're talking about wisdom, right? Talking about wisdom and discernment, trusting what our body says, trusting what feels right and what we believe the first time. We don't need confirmation when our body is telling us what we need to do, but we've been taught to detach from our bodies.
Somebody needs to hear that tonight, because that's absolutely right. We're getting a lot of great comments in there, and thank you all for those comments. I think one of the things that this conversation is needed to been had for a long time. Let me say this. You know, I read in one of your recent posts, you said deconstructing has cost me. What does it cost you?
It's cost me comfort.
Mm.
It has cost me, oh God, it's cost me relationships that I thought
Wow.
I had. It has,
I understand that,
put me in a place of isolation, but for my good. Because listen, when it comes to deconstructing, this has become a buzzword. It's a buzzword.
Buzzword right now. Big buzzword.
It's a big buzzword, but I want to add some weight to it. When you deconstruct, you are taking apart the core components of a belief system, of your structure, of the foundation. So when you deconstruct, it involves the discomfort, it involves the collapse, it involves the dismantling. Because when you deconstruct, everything comes under examination. Everything comes up and you question everything. So this is why I don't understand why in religion and religious spaces that there's a problem with deconstructing. There's some things at the core that needs to be torn down. Things at the core that needs to be dismantled. There's structural issues. The system itself needs to be rattled. I said to somebody, you're comfortable, you know, deconstructing has caused me to have all of these like private sideline conversations as well. People coming into my inbox and, you know, sharing their thoughts about you're saying a lot, you know, and I say this because I come from a Christian background, right? And I believe in Jesus, the life of Jesus. And the one thing I believe that Jesus was that we minimize is that he was a systems disruptor.
Yes, absolutely.
He didn't want, nor did he need approval from anybody,
right,
to disrupt the system. So if I'm to be like, you're preaching to me to be like Jesus. Jesus deconstructed.
Come on now.
Right? Tore down systems unapologetically. And so deconstructing has cost me that. So much I could say about that, but I'm glad, because there's some things that once again had to be torn up at the root, and the only way that I could see that was to allow myself to walk through that moment, these moments. I'll say it like that.
Yeah, I can completely. I think that was one of the things that grabbed me when I read that in my own life, understanding how that has really cost me some things. But on the other side of it giving me great victory for my
Yeah.
own personal self, which is just that amazing piece that sometimes you make those decisions, you
Yeah.
know, that
Yeah.
sometimes seem difficult, but
Yeah.
they're real and they're real for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Why, Lady J, why do people often become uncomfortable when we begin changing?
Because it disrupts the role that we play in their lives. It disrupts the role and it revokes access.
Say that again. It revokes what?
Access.
I love it. I love that.
So what people once were able to depend, upon and expect from you, when
Right.
you start changing, their nervous system begins to collapse.
Yeah, and if I could say something with that, and I know this isn't a question I was going to ask you, but I think that oftentimes folks live in a space of fear with that because they're afraid to lose the relationship when the relationship probably wasn't, well, I'm going to say this real. Okay, let me just be real. Wasn't good for them anyway.
Yeah.
Can you address that?
Well, I can, because what happens is when we're living life through a broken lens, we choose through a broken lens.
There you go. That's
So,
what we do.
We choose through a lens that does not see clearly, does not discern purely, does not have the courage to acknowledge what's for me and what isn't. There's that. And Bishop Bonnie, we talked about moving from performance to power. If you're living, you're always in transit. So your growth movement may also shake some people because they're stagnant. So you have both playing at the same time.
There you go. And yeah, because you got this one through the broken lenses and that one through the broken lenses.
I hope that makes sense.
It makes a great deal of sense. And you wrote that people often prefer the version of us that is safe, that is predictable, and compliant. Why is that?
Because it does not challenge them. It doesn't put a demand on them for growth. It keeps them safe. It keeps them comfortable. It keeps them it keeps them comfortable and safe.
Well, let me follow up with this part about that. Have you discovered that with all of that healing sometimes changes relationships? I made a comment about that a moment ago.
Yeah, it absolutely does, because a lot of times when you move from performance, that requires boundaries. It requires boundaries that perhaps were not in place. Yeah. And a lot of times when we are in these roles, these performing these roles and over functioning and overperforming, we don't have boundaries because often there's that codependent relationship. And can I say this?
Absolutely.
The codependency between you and them or whatever, part of moving away from that and shifting and changing is you acknowledging how you benefited from the codependency. Not just what they got, but maturity. When you move from performance to power, you also acknowledge, I benefited from this toxic relationship because it served a part of me that needed to be seen. It served a part of me that needed to be validated. It served a part of me that wanted praise. It served a part of me that was rejected as a child. It served a part of me that felt abandoned. It served a part of me that wasn't seen by leadership. It served a part of me that didn't corporate promotion. It served a part of me that didn't make that deal. It served a part of me that left that marriage. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh,
There
completely.
was something that you benefited in a way. And that's the conversation, because see, when you move from performance to power, there's ownership in that. You have to own where you are and the role that you continue day after day, week after week to walk in. And this is not shade, right? This is
No.
what when you're wanting to grow, and when you're wanting to mature, and when you're wanting to move forward. We're talking about, healing through a broken lens. We're not talking about perfection. Part of this deconstructing is being present and sitting with the broken parts. You don't have to fix it, but you need to be present and aware of it so you can access it, so you can decide what you want to do with it.
So good. That's so good, y'all. You're again tonight. You're in Breaking the Silence, and we're coming through a summer camp entitled "Through Broken Lenses." Our special guest tonight is Lady J, and you can see her her credentials there. I want to ask you this question. You said some things we thought were God were actually conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah. Conditioning oftentimes looks like fear, rigidity, rules, expectation, survival, things that we were taught to do. It's polarized. Whereas God, when I think about God, God is reflective of vastness and faith, vastness, courage, belief in yourself, permission, love, right? Even the ability to start again, to do again.
Yeah, there you go.
When I think about faith, faith doesn't say that this is it and no more. Faith says there's hope for you and you can do it again.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. Faith says you can do it again.
You can do it again.
Speaking of that,
you can do it again.
You can do it again. And I need somebody to listen, because I don't care how old you are. I don't care where you are at in your life at this moment. It is never too late. Never too late. Never too late. Let me say this. How do we distinguish between faith and conditioning then?
It would be similar. I thought your question was the faith and condition. I jumped. So okay. It would be very, very similar. Faith, when you're moving in faith, faith does not require you to have the answers. No. Faith just requires that you're present.
Wow.
Faith requires presence.
Hear this, you all. Hear it.
You hear the difference. Presence, whereas conditioning requires the doing. The measurement of faith is not in doing. The measurement of faith is in your being present and being willing.
And there's so much. All right, little dog. My little chosen daughter's dog. And in all of that, I think that's where people begin to play the roles and then get on that hamster wheel, if you will, to not get off. And I think that oftentimes there's so much I could say about the church in that conditions us for that.
Well, you know what? We can't, somebody said, can you read it? Let me say this. This is an aha I had the other day. I was telling my sister, I have struggled with telling, like I said, coming on here, telling the story behind my faith. I've struggled with that. Ordained elder, PK, raised in the church. When my father died, we lost the church. People left. My mom was left alone to navigate grief. Members of the church, everybody left within months of my dad dying, they were there for him, the leader. There's been so much hurt and pain for me that was attached to the institution church. Okay.
Wow.
But it also has been the place, this was the aha. It has also been a place that was the foundation of my life. So one of the things that Spirit has been saying to me is that you're not by yourself in that. For many people of color, particularly a lot of Black people, the center of who we are, our core values, our belief systems, the conditioning come from the church. In order for deconstructing to happen, the conversation has to begin there. And Spirit said to me, this is why you have to open your mouth and tell it. Because telling that and deconstructing and analyzing it to core and allowing it to collapse and cutting this and doing all of this has forced me into this place where I'm looking at how I made decisions, how I moved in friendships, how I moved with my money, how I moved in my health, how I moved in every aspect of my life, how I moved with regards to expectations amongst leadership, self-leadership, all of the things, because I was taught that the church, that God is the center of everything. Now, here, this is and I'm not trying to mess up I'm not trying to.
You're all right. Go ahead. You all right. You know, I got you, sis. This is free right here. Come on now. Somebody need to hear this tonight.
God is at the center because you are at the center.
There you go. There you go.
We have put religion at the center. We've even put faith at the center. And I want to propose that we put ourselves at the center, because God in us, as us, is what makes the difference and impacts everything around us.
Everything. Absolutely. But the problem is that oftentimes we don't put ourselves in the center. It's the religion that's in the center while we're out here looking at it.
Well, that's my point. And that's why I said, Spirit said to me, you have to talk about your faith experience. Because at the root of everything that you were has been that.
That's good. That's good.
So you can't, I just so happen to be a licensed therapist and all of the other things. But I noticed the more that I would talk about this on social media, even that I said to you, you've been tracking. The more I talk about this, the more people have begun to respond. And the more people are telling me, sharing of their story, sharing the hurt, sharing the pain in my inbox. Some people are with me. Some people are saying you're talking a little too much. Some of you, but people, it's eliciting a visceral response. And that's because of the power that it has, that we've been afraid to talk about, because religion is what's been controlling the faith aspect versus the God in us, and really understand who God is as us.
And I love that. I resonate with that so much. It just, I got little chill bumps right here. You know, you recently wrote about emotional fortitude.
Yeah.
What is it, and why is it different from emotional intelligence?
So emotional intelligence is the awareness, is the knowing about emotions, being able to articulate, being able to discern them, being able to acknowledge them. But emotional fortitude is about embodying the awareness and sustaining that emotional intelligence, navigating the external world as you maintain that internal wholeness and alignment. The real test of your emotional fortitude and alignment is when things outside of you are in disarray, and you can maintain where you are in the growth that you've ascertained, the growth that you've come into emotionally, being able to dance with someone else's reality without it changing yours. So
I hope you all heard that.
Yeah, the emotional fortitude is sustaining the awareness, it's embodying it. It is walking through consistently. And it's not perfection, because we're not talking about perfection.
Not at all.
Yeah, no.
Not at all.
And actually, someone says here that's hard to do. It takes a lot of strength. Emotional fortitude is the embodiment of strength. So it's practicing that.
Listen, y'all. Listen to what she's saying. We're going to give you the opportunity. Again, this is Bishop Bonnie with Breaking the Silence. We're talking tonight with Lady J, or the Sarah Glover. She's a licensed therapist, a holistic therapist, a certified life coach. She's going to give you the opportunity to possibly have some sessions with her. And we'll bring that on in just a moment. We'll put all of that up and how you can get in touch with her. But I want to move to something else here.
Sure.
You know, why do so many people know what they should do, but still struggle to do it?
Cognitive dissonance.
Explain that to the folks who don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, your brain can know what it needs to do. But in order for your brain to take action, you must move into a place of embodiment, and you must allow for, you have to do what it is that you know you're supposed to do. A lot of times when it comes to cognitive dissonance, our brain, neuroscience, our brain is a powerful, powerful thing. And in order for us to break out of things that we know that we're supposed to break out of, we have to expose ourselves to things that we've never done before. Exposing yourself to those individuals, exposing yourself to new readings, to new information, that's called epigenetics. When you do that, you increase your ability to reduce that cognitive dissonance and to do what needs to be done. The other thing is we have to reconcile the fact that a part of the cognitive dissonance is the resistance for us to face the truth about the situation. Yeah. Because a lot of times facing the truth is difficult. It's hard. Mm-hmm. And we don't know what's on the other side of.
Say that. Yeah, that's it.
We don't know what's on the other side of whatever it is that we see that is no good for us. Mm-hmm. And so fear will keep us stuck.
There you go.
And our brain will keep telling us that it's okay. But let me tell you something. What you see is never going to change. And with women in particular, when we keep betraying what we see and what we know, it goes into our bodies and it creates inflammation, autoimmune disease, cancer, all of the things, because we are not aligned. We're still trying to grapple with and make sense of what you already know. And then when we've allowed conditioning, people's opinions, religion, all of the things, society, politics, whatever you want to say, influence us, it keeps us right there stuck in that place.
You mentioned the word fear, and I think, recently having some conversations with a few of my clients that are in incredibly toxic marriages.
Yeah.
But keep staying in them and keep staying in them and hope that it'll change and hope that it'll change and hope that it'll change. And, our wonderful Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And I today had a conversation with somebody that I said, I look back at a video of, a counseling session that I had with them, and the same thing then is still happening exactly today, 4 years later.
Can I say this, that part of the dissonance is the perceived sense of safety.
Yep. There you go.
Things we can know that a relationship is wrong for us, but let me tell you something. When we've conditioned ourselves to stay and that's all that we know, Our brain tricks us and tells us that we're safe and that it'll be okay.
Right. Right. That's exactly right. And you know, I have people who are commenting saying that's me 33 years. You know, you know, for someone like that, let's just deal with that. What would you say to them in this space that we're talking about?
Say to the which part? What would I say to them by which part?
So if someone is in these relationships that seem toxic, that have been horrible, and yet they're saying, that's me, I've been here for all these years, and I just don't know what to do. What would you say to them?
Yeah. So I will say a couple of things. One of the things that we don't really honor enough is the gift of life and humanity. Bishop Bonnie, we're so busy performing and doing and trying to meet the goal, trying to maintain the marriage, trying to do X, Y, and Z, that we miss out on living. Why am I saying that? Because when you live, a part of living, the living journey, involves having and being a part of relationships that maybe didn't serve you. It's learning and doing things you've never done before.
Yeah.
It's taking the risk, and it's giving yourself the chance to learn and extract the lessons from just being a human being. So I would say, let's start there by humanizing the experience.
Yes. Hallelujah.
By humanizing the fact that in the midst of these 33 years, I was doing life. I was learning aspects of me that I didn't know. I was learning whether or not this is for me or it's not for me. And guess what? I may not have gotten it right, but guess what? I took a risk on myself and I lived.
There you go.
I said today funny, but I was serious. If a cat can have 9 lives, you can have 12.
That's great. I love that.
If a cat can have 9 lives,
get your 12 lives in.
And failure becomes not something that is criticized, but something that is a part of the learning journey called life.
Yeah. Life, y'all. Listen, this learning journey called life. And we keep learning until I believe we take our last breath.
Listen, you're right. So I'm saying that to say, so part of the learning may have been the 33 years that you were connected to this person. That doesn't mean I can't extract something from it.
Yeah.
Nor does it mean that I have to stay in it and not start again, because I can start again.
Hallelujah. And I think oftentimes people, in my experience with the conversations with them, they feel like, oh, I wasted all of those years. And I think that, I know you can probably speak to that, and so can I, because you didn't waste it. I don't think that you can look at it like that. If you, it would be in my experience, to understand that there was something in all of that that was accomplished and that brought to your life, whatever it is. Address that just real quickly, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, I'm happy you brought it back, because let me say this, because I think the other part to this too, I think it was Mary Ann, who said that about 33 years. Yeah. You do have to, if we're living and doing life, part of that is that we have these iterations of self and identity. Mm-hmm. And part of the growth experience is allowing things to die and to grieve. Ooh. Grieve what we believe was lost. That is the oxymoron here, because you do have to grieve what was lost, the identity of that marriage and the things that was attached to that, in order for you to see the growth. So in order to see the growth and to move forward, you have to grieve and mourn what was. Allow it to collapse. Feel the pain. Feel the hurt. Feel the anger. Embody it, whatever it is. Forgive yourself. Forgive them. However you have to move through it. And sometimes that takes time.
Yeah.
Healing, I believe, is an evolution. That's why, you know, this moving from performance to power is the movement.
Yeah.
I hope that helps.
It's so incredibly important for us to understand that, you know, I talk to so many people that get in these spaces of the, you know, being in something for a long time, whether it was the church that they feel damaged them, or a relationship, or this or that. I can talk about several things, and particularly in the church. But I share with them exactly what you're saying here, is that, you know, everyone to look at it like this, which I attempt to do, that is that it's been a learning experience. And then oftentimes you have to extend to yourself grace to yourself to say, you know what, maybe I didn't make the wisest decision. I recently had to do that in my own life. You know what, I didn't make the wisest decision, but guess what? I can make a different one now.
You can.
And I made a different one that was healthy.
Yeah. Can I say this? I don't know, you're breaking up, but I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Can I just add this one other layer to this? When it comes to living, and I was talking about these identities, right? Moving through the iterations of self. It is learning to release. And I want to offer a different definition for release to you all. Release is not just letting go. One day I was in, oh, she's gone. I was in meditation. I'll continue. I was in meditation, and I saw the word release and began to take the word release apart and do it again, lease, agreement, contract. And a part of letting go is examining the agreement, the contract, the way that you engaged in the relationship or in whatever it is, and redefining it. So to release it is to redefine the agreement or redefine the relationship to it, redefine the expectation around it. To release it is not just letting it go, but it is doing and engaging with that, them, or it on your terms, on the new terms that feel aligned with who you are and who you are becoming.
Wow, amazing. There is so much more we could talk about. We haven't even got into 5 or 6 more questions, but I want to give you plenty of time to share about the work that you do, how folks can get in touch with you, what you might offer them tonight, and I will make sure that we put those across now, because I also want you to share that and share about your the singing piece you have, which is so amazing. And if we have an opportunity for more questions, we will. But I want to put that up first and talk about the opportunity that you're sharing with folks.
Yes, absolutely. So if you're interested in working with me, there are several ways that you can do that. I am a licensed mental health therapist. I am licensed in Georgia, Florida, and Maryland. I am also a certified coach across all of the states and internationally. So if you're interested in continuing to work with me, or you want to find out ways that you can do that, I want to take this opportunity to invite you into what I call the Oasis Complimentary Concierge Discovery Call. This is a 20 to 30 minute call to really assess your needs, what you want, and the best course of action for you. And for those who are tuning in today through Bishop Bonnie's platform, I am going to gift you I just released an e-course called The Voice Beneath Performance. The Voice Beneath Performance. It's a 5-module e-course. And for those the first 3 people actually who book this session with me and actually keep it, I'm going to gift you with that along with an additional resource. So I think she's going to put the link in the chat for you all. I don't know, she disappeared again. She's going to put the link in the chat. But if you're interested in trying to figure out how we can work together, feel free to book this appointment, and then you will actually get those free gifts. Also, part of the work I said earlier is I'm big on reclaiming your voice, coming back into and integrating all of the parts of you, your identity. I recently have begun singing again, always sang. I did that professionally for many years. And so now I am singing again with an organization. We are ATL, we are Community ATL Choir. And we recently featured on America's Got Talent, and we were selected to be a part of this upcoming season's competition. And we are soliciting your support. We're currently raising $75,000 to be a part, because when we go to compete, we'll be there a minimum of 10 days at best. And there are financial obligations that we'll have and responsibilities for those of us who may have businesses, marriage, all of the things. So if you want to support whatever you can donate, please feel free to do that at www.atl2agt.com. However you want to support, I appreciate that. So those are the 2 things. Bishop Bonnie, this has been amazing. I hope that your community is walking away with something. I hope I wasn't too much. I hope that you all have gotten something from this time together.
I think they most definitely will. And I apologize for I'm not sure what's happening with the internet in my area, but it popped us off. I know there's the link again that's scrolling over there that you can screenshot that, do whatever you need to do. Please book that call. I know that you would be, as you can see, this is a very gifted sister with amazing gifts. And, when you go through your own stuff and I really believe that there are spaces where we can come into not necessarily always looking through those broken lenses. So I'm grateful tonight for you. Thank you so much. Next week, I want to say this on Through Broken Lenses. We'll continue this important conversation as we explore faith and mental health and healing with a wonderful sister that I've had a chance to meet, Dr. Juanita Green. She's a marriage and family therapist, a minister and advocate for integrated healing. She's written a lot of books out there. And so you want to join us again next week right here on Breaking the Silence, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I try to keep those spaces in there. Just one thing I want to say, and I'm going to let you make a final comment with all of that, is please, please, please make sure that you are taking care of you. Don't ignore you. Give these folks one final thought, Lady J, please.
Seeing life and healing through a broken lens is really learning that it's okay to take things one day at a time, one step in front of the other, and that you do not have to live the life that has been imposed upon you through conditioning and through the opinions of others. It's never too late. Healing is day by day, and I want to encourage you that in this moment to invest in you and to move towards decentering everybody else and putting yourself at the center.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for that. And if there's anything that we can do to help you, please DM me. I just want to say this. Remember, you are not your wound.
Yes.
You are not your trauma. You are not your trauma. You are not your worst experience. healing is possible.
Yes,
Because
it is.
healing begins when we tell the truth. That's what Breaking the Silence is all about. Telling the truth, real conversations, raw truth, and real healing. Thank you for joining us tonight through Broken Lenses. Until next time, keep healing, keep growing, and remember, you never have to walk alone. Good night, everyone, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Good night. Bye-bye.
I'm trying to end the stream. End the stream.